Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto, and today guys we're taking a cheeky look at ANKR. Specifically, ANKR's had a 137% rally recently. What is next? So Chris, this is going to be an interesting video. We're going to be talking about what's happened here with ANKR most recently, how well it's performed. We'll have a look at obviously the chart and see what's going on there, but we'll also discuss what potentially is next for ANKR after this little rally that it's had recently. So if you find this video useful, informative, hit the like button. We both really do appreciate it. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you're not yet subscribed, do consider subscribing. By subscribing, you're going to be kept up to date with all the videos and live streams that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. It's free, so why not? You will be kept well informed. Chris, anything you'd like to add at this point, or should we jump over and see exactly what's going on here?
Yeah, just one thing. Leave a comment below. Let us know, what do you think about ANKR? Where do you think the price is likely to be at the peak of the bull run? Really interested to know, Nick.
Fantastic. Right, let's jump on over and see what's going on here with the ANKR token. So as you can see, this chart behind us is anchored to the USDT on the daily. We're using Binance for our information. Now, in February, ANKR had about $170 market capitalization and was trading a relatively flat range. And you can kind of see exactly what was going on over here in the chart, right? So it was incredibly flat. Still, the most recent 137% rally kicked off as the project became a Binance Smart Chain validator, which is absolutely amazing in itself, right? And it's not a small feat by any stretch of the imagination. It was ultimately, Chris, the top validator for Binance Smart Chain as well.
Say what?
Yeah, the top. Would you believe it? The top validator. So as the token reached a 6 cent all-time high on the 12th of March, which was yesterday when you're actually watching this video, its market capitalization surpassed 400 million. So for those people who were paying attention to the earlier videos that we've been doing, I believe you guys have done relatively well for yourselves. And yeah, for those who still haven't even encountered ANKR, there's still plenty of time. And we're going to get into what that might look like in a little while here. So ANKR is one of those one-click solutions, Chris, that offers nodes for things like ETH2, Avalanche, Bitcoin, 𝗬𝗪, Cosmos, Matic, and many others. The list kind of goes on. And it's that one-click solution that makes ANKR quite a unique project. So projects that basically, provides instant liquidity by providing synthetic assets is also something called 𝗕𝗓 as well. And basically ANKR is the native governance token of the ANKR staking platforms, and also serves as a payment method for their services, such as a node deployment, and app usage. So lots going on there, and well worth kind of paying attention to. So as I said before there, ANKR will handle ETH2 staking with as little as 0.5 ETH. And it provides that instant liquidity that I was just talking about. So really interesting. Now, I'm not going to go into 𝗕𝗓, in terms of this particular video. We're going to be specifically taking a look at what ANKR's up to and what's in store for ANKR, right? And a part of that has to be the competition. And the competition is ferocious. There's a lot of it out there. But ANKR does have an edge, Chris. Although ANKR has a promising outlook, there are multiple competitors out there. Staking, stake.fish, stake capital, staking facilities that operate in the same sector. Nevertheless, though, reaching the #1 position as a Binance Smart Chain validator gives ANKR some credibility and leverage, which, let's face it, is not a small feat, Chris, to become, the top #1 position validator on the Smart Chain. A Binance Smart Chain, right? It is a big deal, and it's a well-deserved position for the ANKR project. So investors would do well to keep a close eye on, how some of these assets are working, specifically those synthetic assets, such as 𝗕𝗓, right? And specifically, and the integration within its staking, the DEX, the yield farming, all of that kind of stuff. Overall, ANKR seems to have an excellent position to capture this fast-growing market, which is really interesting stuff. And because of that, this whole project and the ANKR token could absolutely explode in value. So lots of things to kind of think about and dig in and do some research on. So guys, I do recommend doing more research on finding out why exactly ANKR is the #1 validator for the Binance Smart Chain. I'm not going to go through it on this video because I want you to physically go out there and find out for yourselves, because it is an important one to understand the potential of ANKR. Now, what we're going to do is actually go through the chart in a little bit of detail, Chris. Because obviously, whilst I've been kind of talking through a little bit, we've had the chart in the background here. You've seen the sideways trading that was going on over here and the most recent movement to the upside. It's actually taken out that first price point that we're talking about here, Chris, of 6.1 cent. And we think we actually had a high, I think it was 6.7 cent today, which is phenomenal. And it's still getting some good traction. And as you can see, the news that have been the #1 validator for the Binance Smart Chain has done wonders for the RSI. It is completely overbought at this point, and it will have to come down at some point soon. But it's 84 on the chart, or 85 on the chart, which is quite remarkable for a project of such a low market capitalization. Normally, you don't tend to see that on projects that are relatively unknown, and it's fantastic to see ANKR get some attention at last. Now, the volumes are obviously remarkably high today as well, and obviously we can see the big green candle here. But what we're going to do is pull this into that 4-hour view and just review exactly what's going on. We can see how high we were getting with those wicks and those candles earlier today, and we can see that the volumes have come down quite nicely within these last 4 hours or so. So that's actually key to reducing how high we are on this RSI. And that RSI is actually bouncing off of the 70 level here on the 4-hourly chart. That's showing us that we're potentially still going to go up in value and have a lot of steam still left in the tank here. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But currently, Chris, the RSI is kicking at around about 72, which is still technically overbought. So let's pull this into that 1-hour view and just review a little bit more on what's going on there. So the hour view gives us a little bit more detail, Chris. We're no longer overbought. In fact, we actually came down to a little bit lower, currently at 64 on this RSI. And that's actually a good area to be taking a bit of time to reflect on everything else that we can see. We can obviously see that the volumes are decreasing on every single hour here, with the exception of a few hours ago where there was a little bit of a spike. And that was because the price was obviously coming quite down, relatively low here, and it had to get a little bit of a kick back up. Now, the volumes are still decreasing in the last few hours, and the most recent hour has yet to really kind of paced its way through. With that being said, this hourly view shows us that if the volumes decide to really spike up again on the back of this fantastic news around Binance Smart Chain and being the #1 validator, then ultimately we could go right back up into that bull area and set new all-time highs relatively quickly, because we've still got a bit of space here on this RSI and not a lot of space between our current position and the all-time high. That would leave us setting a new all-time high for the ANKR token, and which would be absolutely fantastic. Now, if we go ahead and pull this up into our daily view, Chris, and just kind of give us a bit of a summary. In summary, the daily chart, we are overbought. On the 4-hourly chart, we are overbought. But on the on the 1-hour view, Chris, we're actually not overbought, and there's a lot of potential to rebouncing back up into that overbought area if the volumes decide to spike up again. Usually that will happen on the back of some fantastic news, such as being the #1 validator for the Binance Smart Chain. Now, obviously, if that does happen, we have a good option here to go ahead and head towards that second price target of 9.3 cent. 9.3 cent is the second price target that's on our Fibonacci extension levels. This comes in at the 2.618 area, which would be phenomenal to see a token like this achieve such a value in such a short space of time. That would be truly amazing. With that being said, at some point we will have to come back down from that overbought area and correct a nice healthy correction somewhere between the 618, the 0.5, or even the 382 would be expected from the most recent rally. So we'll just have to watch out and see when that's going to happen. It doesn't look like it's something that will happen immediately, but it's something that is likely to happen relatively soon. With that being said, Chris, we do have some future thoughts on how far the anchor token potentially can go. And we're talking about potentially, like, if this coin was to 20x, where would it actually go? And we can see that as like about 1300% from its current position. So I think that's something that we could potentially do quite comfortably. And I do not think that's something that would be overstretching by any stretch of the imagination. And I also think, Chris, that we can see this particular project going well into $1 or even $2 during this bull run. But tell me, Chris, what's your thoughts on all of this?
Well, we have been consolidating our portfolio, and obviously this was the first. We exited one project into Reef. The timing was into ANKR from Reef, should I say? And the timing was impeccable. We know that ANKR is a phenomenal project. We pointed this out a while back. I think we've seen it 4x from the position when we first entered ANKR. So phenomenal gains. I think it's going to continue. I think it's just going to go from strength to strength. It's integrated well with a number of different projects which you alluded to earlier. For me, I think this is just the start of things to come for ANKR. And I think I've mentioned it on the last two videos that we've done when we've covered ANKR, and that is that we're going to start to see more YouTubers start to talk about this project once they realize, and I think that's going to be sooner rather than later.
I do too, Chris. I think lots of people will now be piggybacking onto ANKR after they realize that it's been doing some absolutely fantastic work on the Binance Smart Chain, and people will start doing some research. And I think a lot of YouTubers will start talking about ANKR a little bit more, which will be fantastic for the project and price discovery. So really good stuff. So guys, hopefully you found this video useful and informative, and hopefully it gives you a little bit of an insight as to what we think this is going to be the future of ANKR. We can see it quite easily hitting $1, even maybe $2 during this particular bull run of 2021. And we have some immediate price targets where the next price target that we are looking for comes in at 9.3 cents. And the indicators within the hourly chart shows us a very bullish outlook if the volume decides to kick in, whereas the daily and the 4-hourly does show us that a correction is needed. So do not be too disheartened if the price does decline, and it's just a healthy correction. And if you're not yet in ANKR and you're thinking about it, do some research, as we recommend. We're not financial advisors, so we can't recommend financial advice, but we can say do your own research, and if a correction comes in, you might want to be looking at that in a bit more detail. With that said and done, if you found this video useful and informative, hit that like button. We both really do appreciate it. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you're not yet subscribed, do consider subscribing. By subscribing, you will be kept up to date with all of the videos and live streams that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And with all that said and done, we hope you have a fantastic day, and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Yeah, take care.